Our TIP volunteers are the most selfless and compassionate people that I know. They respond 24/7, 365 days a year to show up and just be there for those who need us in their darkest moments.
TIP is trust, community, and vulnerability.
TIP is compassion, TIP is systematic, and TIP is very dependable.
TIP is service with compassion.
TIP is heart to heart.
TIP is compassion, listening, and kindness.
TIP is caring, functional, and full of heart.
TIP is life-changing, compassionate, and understanding.
TIP is showing empathy, being present, and ability to care.
TIP is compassionate, patient, and very rewarding.
TIP is emotional, practical support.
TIP is compassion, support, and patience.
TIP is soul-feeding, humility, and purpose-driven.
TIP is versatility, understanding, and empathy.
TIP is listening, caring, and compassion.
TIP is the trauma intervention program.
My sister Martha moved out here. She had Asperger's. She was living in her own apartment independently. We went in to check on her and the door was locked and the landlord let us in and we found her dead in her apartment. It was a big surprise, a big shock to us. I had no idea that TIP existed until Angie showed up and says, "Hi, I'm here to help." From the moment she was there till the moment she left, she was calm, she was cool, she was reassuring, she was empathetic without being sappy, she was personal without being intrusive, she was just helpful and useful in every possible way. She listened to us, but then gave us guidance. Here's what to expect next. Not just that day, but in the days and weeks to come.
When I talk with our volunteers on a daily basis or read their call logs from the scenes that they've responded to, I'm continually reminded about the impact that these volunteers have in the community, supporting people when they need it most. I'm grateful to all of the volunteers that we have in our group, and I am so proud to work with them every day.
My boyfriend of 13 years passed away suddenly, and my son found him and he did CPR on him until the firemen arrived. The TIP volunteer Bill was there and he helped calm me down. He was just holding space for me to be in shock. It takes a really special person to help somebody process that level of shock, and the TIP volunteers are able to do that. He was compassionate, caring, non-judgmental, and just very calming. The fact that there was somebody there for my son when I thought no one was there is pretty amazing. My son is 16, so it's a lot.
We wouldn't have a TIP program without the emergency responders seeing a need and being able to call for us, or the volunteers who have dedicated their time to respond, or for staff that puts all the pieces together so we can continue to spread that mission, because it takes all of us to make it happen.
I was a deputy sheriff in the early 90s and immediately realized the potential that TIP volunteers have to force multiply the efforts of law enforcement and fire. The really most important piece is to just show up, just to be there. And we all can do that if we have that sincere empathy and compassion that it takes to want to help people. When you go through the tragedies that TIP responds to, there's no longer prejudice and hate and all of the things that make human beings different. That all goes away and you just become vulnerable and you become shocked and you become lost in the fog of the tragedy. We're making a difference in the lives of so many people. To me, TIP volunteers are angelic superheroes, and their superpowers are sincere compassion and empathy for other people. It means a lot to me.
I tried to call Jimmy Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and by Monday morning, I didn't go to work. I went to his house instead. I started to knock and no one answered. I opened the door, which was unlocked. I could see him, just his legs. The TIP people were there probably about the same time as the police. They helped me begin my grieving process with Jimmy. They stayed the entire time until after I left. I think they called at least twice to check up on me after the event. They were angels. They really offered the kind of support you would get from a family member or your mom or a friend. They were definitely angels.
Last December, on December 22nd, our son was killed in an accident on Burnside here in Portland. We arrived at the medical examiner's office on Christmas Eve to collect our son's belongings, and at that time I asked, like, what do we do next? I mean, I had no idea. And they were very helpful, and they gave us the information for a trauma intervention program. That afternoon, I spoke with Jocelyn, and she was amazing. She was incredibly empathetic. She was very helpful. She gave us a list of resources to help, and so I started making calls that afternoon. If anyone is in that situation where they don't know where to get help, the TIP program is just phenomenal. I was never able to actually meet Jocelyn in person. I can't thank her enough for her support during a time where we were just really struggling to know what to do next, and she really helped us out.